Hi everyone, happy Cancer new moon. It's your girl Shantae. This is the Earthly and Ethereal channel, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It's also Wednesday. This is the day of Mercury. This is the day of Thoth. This is the day also of our throat chakra, our Heka. A wonderful day to speak affirmations, real life affirmations over your life and over your journey, and have them be especially heightened and activated with the energy and frequency of this day. Speak well, not to mention, again, new moon energy, very prominent right now as we are going through that Cancer new moon. Beautiful Cancer, beautiful energy tied to the divine feminine, tied to the home, tied to matters of the home, matters of the family, our children, just wonderful, beautiful energy, our loved ones. And I wanted to come and talk to you guys today because if you hear me, then you probably can hear that I sound normal. And that is saying a lot because what I have been experiencing over the last couple of weeks has not been normal. I've been rather quite tired, and more than tired, I've been feeling just a pull on my energy. And that's what I want to talk about today, y'all. And it's important, I think, especially that we have this conversation right now as we move into this year of 2025, the year of the 9, the second half of this year, which the first half of this year was a lot. Energetically, it was a lot, y'all. In case you're like, what is going on? Yeah, the first half of this year was energetically quite cumbersome, with all of the alignments that has been happening. A lot of things cosmically happen, Saturn moving into Aries, Neptune moving into Aries. Now we have Uranus moving into Jupiter. A lot of things happening that are just like new energy to us, right? So, but these are also the things that are bringing in this new, fresh beginning that we all, in one way or the other, I think, are in need of. But it takes a lot of grounding and just really being mindful of your energy to be able to move in cohesive union with this energy. And it's not something that you should take lightly, considering all that's happening in the world on many levels. And I know a lot of spiritual people are always like, don't pay attention to what's happening in the world. I can be like that too. But I did have a profound thought, like, it's kind of not fair to ask people to not pay attention to what's happening, because that's kind of how some people feel grounded, in knowing what is happening in the world. And it's also part of their mission, their spiritual mission, to know, because they affect the change. So to affect the change, sometimes you have to be in awareness. But the key for me is to have the awareness, but not have the fear. So that part, I think, is really important, because that we can manage, right? And I'll tell you guys, this weekend, when everything unfolded with, I don't have to say, you guys know what I'm talking about. When everything unfolded, I was in a state of like, oh yeah, it's time to get active spiritually. It's time to get active spiritually. And I didn't think to myself, oh, I need to go and, tweet this or express this or have anger. No. What can I do to affect this situation in the spiritual realm? Because that is where we have our power, y'all. In case you haven't realized it yet. We cannot control the physical realm unless we have tapped into our power in the spiritual realm. And each of us tap in differently. Some of us tap in through prayer. Some of us tap in through meditation. Some of us are just straight up spiritual warriors. Like, we're just, okay. But however, whichever, it's just a matter of being able to tap in and know that you are so vital. I will say that one of the things that I was a little, concerned about this weekend was because it's become so apparent how there's such a tug of war, right, that's happening on a spiritual level with the patriarchal system that is trying so very hard to kind of hold on, and what I would love to see more is more women, more divine feminine being tapped into their own spiritual power, their Heka, and being able to just, give some pushback against what's happening, this desire to hold on. But I feel like there's been such a strong agenda to keep especially the divine feminine outside of her power, detached from her power, in a state of fear, in a state of over sexuality, in a state of like clinging to the masculine for value. And it's just there's such an unbalance. And I can only hope that those who are tapped in are doing the work and are enough to counter the energy that is so abundant, because at this point, y'all, I'm just like, when are we going to realize that we have to get these diabolical, I sound like Flurburn if you know Flurburn, these bastards off the planet? Like, they got to go. They got to go. The energy has to go, y'all. Constantly in a thought frame, in a mindset, and to have these conversations right now in 2025, where there's so much room for a conscious evolution of the human mind and human way, and to still be having these like barbaric conversations when it comes to kill, war, mind blowing to me. And that part I was a little just annoyed with this weekend. But at the same time, I understand that, you know, this is something that has to play out. This is not just a modern day thing. This is historic. This is ancient. This is something that is woven into time, space, and reality. And for the sake of, you know, where we're going, it has to play out, right? But I encourage, you know, especially my divine feminines, to tap in to your power. But to tap in, sometimes it means that we have to get a sense of clearance, a sense of clarity and cleansing. And with everything, all the energy, sometimes that can be a little rough, but you owe it to yourself to do so. Not even just so you can, you know, tap into your divine feminine power, but just so you can exist, just so you can live day to day. Because I find that what's happening is that it's getting harder and harder to just like show up, and be, you know, because there's so much energy just like here. And it's like you have to keep a constant sense of spiritual cleansing. It is becoming vitally important to not just having a physical hygiene practice, which obviously, you know, we all know to do, but having a spiritual hygiene practice. You have to have something, a go-to something to help keep your body spiritually cleansed. Because I find that the tiredness is not coming from doing too much. It's actually easier to do things now. Like, things kind of manifest a little easier. You don't have to do too much. The tiredness is just coming from having to adjust to the energy, having so much energy around, everyone's energy kind of being just kind of, you know, crossing. And again, spiritual hygiene is like very, very important right now, right? And it doesn't have to be something complicated, intense. I say have a go-to process that you do. Something, whether you are, I'll tell you guys, find out your moon sign, right? Find out your moon sign if you don't know it, and find out the element of that moon sign. Right now we're in a Cancer moon, right? The new moon is in Cancer. That's a water element. So if your moon sign is a water element, you're probably going to want to have something that is cleansing with water. If your moon sign is a fire element, you get what I'm saying? Cleanse with fire, purify with fire, and so on and so forth, right? If your moon sign is an air sign, cleanse with smoke, sound, you know? Earth sign, get out there and ground, girl. Get that yoni on the earth, okay? And I recommend that for everybody. Get yourself in some grass. Get in some grass. Get grounded. That's another thing that I think is important right now to navigate this time, is to be grounded and rooted, well rooted, like to the point where you know who you are. You know who you are, and you know what you're capable of, right? But that's going to mean that you have to reconnect with nature and really put yourself in a state of just being balanced, right? So I just wanted to come and share that, y'all, because right now is a very interesting time, and it's a beautiful time. Make no mistake, this is a beautiful time because things are changing. But the question becomes, how will you allow the change to happen in your life? Will you allow it to be a violent shaking of your core? Or will you allow it to be something that is an ebb and flow, something that is beautiful and just a, you know, a new, fresh start? I think we can all use that new, fresh start, right? And I think we all deserve it after all we've been through, at least over these last 5 years. It's been one. So tap into this energy, but don't forget to have for yourself a simple spiritual hygiene practice to continue to cleanse the energy and keep yourself light. Keep yourself light. My grandfather, God bless his soul, used to say in with his Belizean accent, take it light. Take it light. And that is so true. I always say that to myself, like when I'm a little bit too overwhelmed, like, Shanta, take it light. And that just means like, just relax. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, y'all. I wish you a wonderful day, divine wellness, and thank y'all for listening. Bye. Happy Cancer full moon, Cancer new moon.